late Friday, it emerged that two bidders had, of course, lined up for Bhushan Power and Bhushan Power and Steel, but it looks like Tata Steel is ahead in terms of pricing. Vishnath Nair joining us with the details of the bids, which have been on BloombergQuint.com since Friday, but also giving us some perspective on what this means for banks. Vishnath, over to you first.
Right, Ira. So what we understand from our banking sources is that on Friday there was a meeting of Bhushan Steel lenders. This is part of the insolvency and bankruptcy process that is going on. It was an informal meeting wherein details of the bids, both the bids that have come in for Bhushan Steel, were presented in front of the lenders. There were two bidders, as we know, for Bhushan Steel. There was JSW Steel and Tata Steel, and this is what their bid position is looking like. JSW Steel, if you remember, was a company that they bid with two other partners as part of a consortium, and they put in about 30,000 crore. While in the case of Tata Steel, they bid about 45,000 crore. In this 45,000 crore, it is important to sort of split this and understand, what exactly this number is. 45,000 crore includes the 35,000 crore for the financial creditors in the system, which is largely lenders. There's also operational creditors who are getting about 1,200 crore, as you can see, as well as the working capital needs of about 9,000 crore. This is what we understand is the broad sort of split between various creditors as well as the company, as Tata Steel has put in. Lenders at this point in time are considering Tata Steel as the H1 or the highest bidder, as they call it, and henceforth will likely be only negotiating with them. Remember that there is still a formal meeting that is pending wherein this resolution will be passed, that the lenders will only be discussing the deal details with Tata Steel and negotiate further if they want the deal to improve. In the case of Bhushan Power and Steel, let's get the first chart up again. Bhushan Power and Steel's case, Tata Steel has bid about 17,000 crore, while JSW is about 11,000 crore. If you remember, when we had first discussed this story, the liquidation value in the case of Bhushan Power and Steel was at about 10,000 odd crore. So JSW's bid was very, very close to that 10,000 crore number, while Tata Steel is clearly sort of, outbid them with a 17,000 crore number. We still don't have the details of how this 17,000 crore is split between the financial and the operational creditors, but this is broadly the deal. So in both these cases, Tata Steel has clearly outbid JSW, and the lenders will only be negotiating with Tata Steel if they see that they can probably improve their share of the deal better and try and get more money out of the company. Once that happens, they will get respective approvals from their boards, and then the approval will move to the NCLT.
All right, Vishnath, a couple of questions. So first, let's look at Bhushan Steel. In that, you would compare the amount that they're offering to the financial creditors to understand what the haircut is, right?
That's right. So
let's go to that second chart, actually.
Yeah.
For Bhushan Steel.
Bhushan Steel's second chart, you can see.
Now we'll come to this in a minute, but we just want to look at the breakup of the bid for Bhushan Steel. So the financial creditors are getting 32,500 crore.
35,200 crore.
35,200
yes. So that is against the 56,000 crore number that Bhushan Steel's financial creditors had quoted when the resolution professional had called for financial creditors numbers. So that is the haircut. So that's about a 40,000. Yeah, right. So that's about a 40% odd haircut as compared to the 56,000 crore. It's pretty much in line with the 40-50% haircut that most market analysts were expecting when the process started. So that is still in that range. Of course, the final number is still pending, so we'll know more about the haircut later.
And in Bhushan Power and Steel, roughly, I think there the haircut is lower.
No.
Lower than what it has been in Bhushan Steel.
No, so that's not correct, because Bhushan Power and Steel had a financial creditor debt of 48,000 crore.
48,000.
Yeah, so 17,000 crore is a pretty much, and this is inclusive of the operational creditors. So obviously, it's a much larger haircut as compared to Bhushan Steel. But Bhushan Steel was the company that everybody was looking at because it was a large company with a 5.6, MTPA sort of annual production capacity. So everything that will happen in that case will probably set the tone for all steel companies.
All right. Talking about all steel companies, Vishnath, we now pretty much have a sense of what the landscape looked like in terms of bidders, and in some cases we also, of course, have highest bidder information. But let's look at that.
Yeah, so the chart that's going to come up now is about what has happened in various cases. We know that in the case of Bhushan Steel and Bhushan Power and Steel, both Tata Steel and JSW Steel had put in their bids. In both these cases now, Tata Steel has obviously emerged as the highest bidder. SR Steel, we saw New Metal, which is sort of a special purpose vehicle wherein there's Revan Truia as well as VTB Bank, which holds the highest stake in the company. ArcelorMittal has put in a bid through its Indian subsidiary, but we don't know the details of that bid yet, so we'll come to that as and when we get those details. Monnet Ispat's case, there's only one bidder, that is JSW Steel. They've tied up with Piramal Bain to make a bid in this case. There again, the lenders are at this point in time negotiating with JSW Steel, trying to get a better value for the company. In Electro Steel's case, there are four bidders. This the company had announced in a BSE notification, so we know for sure that these four people are in the game. Vedanta, Tata Steel, Renaissance Steel, which is a Dalmia Group company, and as well as Edelweiss ARC, all four have put in a bid. From news reports, it seems that Vedanta is sort of leading the chart, but of course those details will come in as and when the lenders discuss it.
All right, so those were all part of the Big 12, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 companies where at least you're in the final stages now.
Yeah, but this is interesting primarily because Bhushan Steel was that one asset watched out for, right? Everybody wanted exposure to the eastern side of the country, and we knew that the two bids will come out to be aggressive. I'm just wondering if it is, if we can infer if this is the nature of bids that has come in for Bhushan Steel, that will be the tone for the others. Sure, it will set the tone, but would it be in the same or the same way as the bids have come in for Bhushan Steel? Because it's probably a more prized assets compared to the others, at least from a steel company's perspective.
At least in SR Steel, the only other comparable asset is SR Steel in this with Bhushan Steel. So there again, the two bids have come in. They've yet to open it. As and when they open it, the lenders will talk about what exactly these bids contain. But we'll know who is the highest bidder in this. But it's fair to expect that since Bhushan Steel got such a decent value, SR Steel is likely to get something in the same league.
And it's also about what the interests are, right? I mean, for instance, hypothetically, if Arcelor is bidding for SR Steel, they've exited Uttam Galva. This is probably their best chance at an India exposure. Will that get built into the bid? New Metal, assuming that there's some interest from the Ruia family and they want to have some say in SR Steel, maybe they would bid built on the asset value that they think plus on what it means to them. I don't know. I mean, I assume some of that will get
well, surely that's going to play into this because for New Metal as well as ArcelorMittal is sort of their last bet on the steel game through this insolvency thing.